I found a really good. I loved Ann Landers and Abby on the newspaper. I read them every week, and I found the best letter. Dear Abby, I am a crack dealer in Beaumont, Texas, who's recently been diagnosed as a carrier of HIV virus. My parents live in Fort Worth. One of my sisters lives in Pflugerville and is married to a transvestite. My dad and mama have recently been arrested for growing and selling marijuana. Wow. They're financially dependent on my other two sisters who are prostitutes in Dallas. I got two brothers. One's currently serving a non-parole life sentence for the murder of a teenage boy in 1994. My other brother's currently in jail awaiting charges of sexual misconduct with his 3 children. I've recently become engaged to marry a former prostitute who lives in Plano. She's a part-time working girl. All things considered, my problem's this. I love my fiance. I look forward to bringing her into the family. I certainly want to be totally open and honest with her. But should I tell her about my cousin in Longview who support and voted for Donald Trump? Signed, worried about my reputation.
Damn.
Yeah, the IRS, they suspected that a fishing boat owner wasn't paying proper wages to his deckhand, and they sent an agent to investigate him. And the IRS auditor says, I need a list of your employees and how much you pay them. And the boat owner's like, well, there's Clarence, my deckhand. He's been with me for 3 years. I pay him $1,000 a week, free room and board, too. And then there's the mentally challenged guy. Now, this mentally challenged guy works about 18 hours every day. He does about 90% of that work around here, and he makes about $10 a week. He pays his own room and board, and I buy him a bottle of Bacardi rum and a dozen Budweisers every Saturday night so he can cope with life. Oh, he also gets to sleep with my wife occasionally. And the auditor from the IRS is like, that's the guy I need to talk to, the mentally challenged one. And the boat owner says, well, that'd be me. What do you want to know? 3 nuns die and they go to heaven, but they all got to answer a question to get in heaven. First nuns asked, who was the first man on earth? And she says, Adam, and lights flash and the pearly gates open. Second nuns asked, who was the first woman on earth? She says, Eve, lights flash and the gates open. Third nuns asked, what was the first thing Eve said to Adam? And the nuns puzzled and she goes, oh, that's a really hard one. Lights flash and the pearly gates open. I don't know why people say no offense right before they're about to offend you. Why do people say no offense right before they're about to offend you? I'm serious. Yeah. And by all means, marry. But if you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad wife, you'll become a philosopher. Yeah. You know, men have only 2 emotions, hungry and horny. So if you see a guy without an erection, give him a sandwich. That's what I say. Never, under any circumstances, take a sleeping pill and a laxative on the same night. Oh. So the stockbroker urged me to buy a stock that would triple its value every year. And I said, at my age, I don't even buy green bananas. You know what I
mean? They're going to make it to the next day.
Now, we all heard that 1 million monkeys banging on 1 million typewriters would eventually reproduce the entire works of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, right? Yep, now, right. Thanks to the internet, we know it's not true. This mom had 3 daughters, and they were all getting married within a short time period. And because the mom was a bit worried about how their sex lives would get started, she made them all promise to send a postcard from the honeymoon with a few words on how marital sex felt. So the first girl sent a card from Hawaii 2 days after the wedding, and the card said nothing but Nescafe. And Mom was puzzled at first, but then she went to the kitchen, she got out the Nescafe jar. It said, good till the last drop. And Mom blushed and was pleased for the daughter. Well, second girl sent a card from Vermont a week after her wedding, and the card said, Benson and Hedges. Mom knew now to go straight to her husband's cigarettes. She read on the Benson and Hedges pack, extra long, king size, and she was again kind of embarrassed, but happy for that guy. Yeah. But the third girl left for her honeymoon in the Caribbean, and Mom waited for a week, and there was nothing. And then another week went by, and still nothing. And then in a whole month, and then a card finally came a month later, and written on it with shaky handwriting were the words, British Airways. So the mom took out her latest Harper's Bazaar, flipped through the pages, fearing the worst, finally found the ad for the airline, and it said, 3 times a day, 7 days a week, both ways. And Mom fainted.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, my gosh.
So Jane's a first-time contestant on the $65,000 quiz show. Lady Luck had smiled in her favor as she had gained a substantial lead over all the opponents, and she even managed to win the game. But unfortunately, time ran out before the show's host could ask her the big question. So she agreed she'd come back the next day. She was so nervous, and she and her husband are driving home, and she's like, I've just got to win tomorrow. I just wish I knew what the answers are. I'm just not going to sleep at all tonight. I'm going to probably look like garbage tomorrow. And the husband says, relax, sweetie. It's all going to be okay. 10 minutes after they got home, Roger grabbed the car keys and started heading out the door. And she's like, where are you going? Oh, I got a little errand to run. I'll be back really soon. And after a 3-hour absence, agonizing for her, of course, Roger comes back sporting a big, wide grin. He goes, honey, I got the answer to the question for tomorrow. She's like, what is it? He's like, okay, the question's going to be, what are the 3 main parts of the male anatomy? And the answer is the head, the heart, and the penis. So they went to sleep, and Jane felt at ease, plummeting into a deep slumber. Well, at 3:30 a.m., she was shaken awake by Roger, who was asking, hey, what is it? What's the answer? And she goes, oh, the head, the heart, and the penis. And she was all groggy. She went back to sleep. Then again in the morning, he wakes her up, and he goes, all right, what is it again? She's brushing her teeth while he's doing it. And she said, okay, well, it's the head, the heart, and the penis. So it's, once again, she's on the set. Even though she knew the question and the answer, she could feel butterflies in her stomach. And the camera started running, and the host, after reminding the audience of the previous day's events, he faced Jane and he asked that big question. Jane, for $65,000, what are the main parts of the male anatomy? You got 10 seconds. The head? Very good, 6 seconds. The heart? Great, 4 seconds. Oh darn, my husband drilled it into me last night and I had it on the tip of my tongue this morning. That's enough, the guy says. Congratulations.
You win. Hey, it had a happy ending too. That's great.
Worth every penny.